Okay, so after watching my last video, it's apparent that a lot of you knuckleheads figured that you would like to start buying things from Japan, particularly tackle. And I really don't blame you at all. Japan has the coolest fishing tackle in the world, in my opinion. I mean, in Japan, you can buy bait casters that have digital computer braking. In Japan, you can buy bait casters that will handle finesse lures with ease. And at the moment in Japan, you can get Abu Garcia Revos with titanium nitride coating that gives this really, really pretty look. So I do not blame you at all for wanting to expand your options, so to speak, and see what's available in Japan. Here's a couple of examples of things that you can buy only in Japan. The Jackal Darabreak Finesse Chatterbait. Now I know Z-Man makes a finesse chatterbait, but they don't look nearly as good or as detailed as these. Now this here is the Fish Arrow Airbag Bug. This is actually a top water insect bait that's also a popper. Here's another jack lure that it's kind of like a cross between a shallow diving crankbait and a jerkbait and a jointed swim bait. It's got that cool clear fish tail. Of course, you can get cool rods like the Jackal BPM, which is surprisingly affordable. Goes to show you not everything from Japan is expensive. And also, if you are the kind of person that likes to dress up your reel, you got a ton of dress up parts available in Japan. Now this advice I'm giving you is based on my experience only. So if you've experienced something different, then I don't know what to tell you. Now the first thing you're going to need that I recommend is to open up a PayPal account, and I recommend you do that with a credit card if you can. And that'll explain itself in a moment when I go over other things. Now the second thing is where to buy. Now there are a ton of Japanese shops that sell JDM tackle, and you can find them on eBay, you can find them on Amazon. Now, Japan has its own version of Amazon. It's called Rakuten, and a lot of their shops specialize in selling tackle overseas. Or you can, like I do, and I buy directly from the shop itself and their website. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to list in the description box below a list of my favorite shops to buy from that I have bought plenty of tackle from. Okay, so let's go over the cost. Now, the shops that I usually shop from, their prices vary. And what I mean by they vary is the price of the item, it depends on the exchange rate. So let's say Scorpion DC. If you go on one of the websites and you see it for sale for $250. So let's say next week the US dollar gets weak and the Japanese yen gets strong. So you go back and you check on the price and it went up to 260. So let's say the week after that you go and you check again and the price dropped down to 230. Basically, these shops, the pricing that has the cheapest prices will all depend on the exchange rate. And I believe during Christmas or the holidays, the US dollar tends to get strong, so generally the prices will tend to be cheaper. But, you know, it could be one price one day and one price the next. Now, there are certain shops that have a set price that doesn't fluctuate, and those are shops like Japan Tackle, shops that are on eBay or Amazon. And in fact, a lot of shops will have their own website and also sell on eBay and Amazon, and they may even have two different prices for the same item. Okay, so let's talk about shipping. Now, generally, shipping from Japan is not as expensive as you think it'll be, and a lot of times that actually depends on the exchange rate as well. So, I bought this rod a couple of weeks ago. It's a one-piece rod, and it costs $40 to ship. Now, about 5 or 6 years ago, when the exchange rate was crap meaning that the yen was very strong, I bought a rod that costed $100 to ship over here. So if the yen is weak, then shipping will be cheaper. If the yen is strong, they'll generally adjust shipping and it'll go up. But generally, a one-piece rod, it'll depend on the shop. And what they'll do is they'll give you a shipping quote before you actually pay, so you can decide whether you want it or not. Now, for smaller items like the lures and the reels, generally the shipping should cost you no more than 15 to 20 bucks. Now, there's certain sites that the lures and reels will ship for free. And one of the sites that I'm talking about is called Digitaka, which I'll leave a link for you down below. So one thing you may want to think about as well is sometimes you'll be hit with a customs fee. Now, I've only been hit with a customs fee twice, and coincidentally, both of those times, the rods were expensive, one piece, and they had to be shipped either FedEx or UPS. Now, generally, when you have smaller items like, reels, lures, and even two-piece rods, generally the shops will try to send it the cheapest way possible, and that's through what I call the Worldwide Postal Service. It's called EMS, and you'll get a tracking number. It's a Japanese tracking number, but you'll actually be able to track your package on the United States Postal Service website, which is cool. Now, from that experience, it leads me to believe that you'll only be hit with customs fees sometimes with expensive items if they ship it UPS or FedEx. So if the shop is only using EMS, I doubt you'll be hit with any kind of customs fees at all. And if it's a cheaper item like this rod, then I doubt you'll be hit with any customs fees either, because this rod came UPS and I was not hit with a customs fee. So it may depend on the cost and the declared value that you will be hit with a customs fee. Okay, so let's talk about the negatives of ordering from Japan. Now, the main negative for me, actually it's not a negative for me, but it may be a negative for you, is that getting warranty support is going to be really hard. But actually a lot of the Japanese suppliers, they'll file warranty claims for you, but you have to send in your item to them, and that costs money. Now, if you get something that is defective, you'll generally have to send it back, like this Revo right here. The first one I got, I found it to be unacceptable and had a thumb bar problem. So I sent it back, and it took about 2 months to get the replacement because certain things they had to send it to the manufacturer to inspect. But I had to pay for the shipping back to the shop to get that taken care of. But that was the only time that's ever happened to me out of the literally dozens of times I've bought things from Japan. Okay, so let's talk about potential fraud and rip-offs. Now, I've never been ripped off, knock on wood, But I can tell you that I almost was ripped off one time, and it wasn't by a Japanese site. So here's what you need to look for and how to protect yourself. The first thing that you'll notice, let's say if you are looking for a specific reel like this one here. So what I like to do is I like to Google it. And sometimes you'll come across a shop. Now let's say this Aldebaran here was $300 from Japan. Now you may run across a shop that says the price for this is only $200. So you're like, wow, what a deal. You know, you want to save some money, which is understandable. Now, the first red flag is the price is too low. Now, the second red flag is when you go to purchase it, you add it to your cart and you want to check out, they require that you buy a minimum amount of these reels. So let's say you see this Aldebaran for $200, but in order to order, you have to buy 5 of them. So that's a major red flag. I will click off that site. Do not do it. And the third red flag, let's say if you're dumb enough to actually buy 5 of these and you want to proceed and pay, is they will always inevitably want a bank transfer as a form of payment. They don't take credit card, they don't take PayPal. And that's because I believe PayPal generally will check to see the legitimacy of the shop. That's why they don't take PayPal. And the reason I say use PayPal and a credit card, basically use your credit card to pay through PayPal, is those are 2 ways that you can protect yourself in case you did get ripped off. So PayPal will generally help you out, and then of course your credit card will generally help you out with fraud as well. And you won't have to pay for any kind of rip-off situation. Now, a last thing to keep yourself from getting ripped off is do some research. Now, when I say research, I mean go on the fishing forums and ask around. Ask if anyone's ever used a certain shop. Google the shop, see if they have any reviews. Tackle Tour forums is a great place to ask for advice about ordering things from Japan. Those guys are into high-end tackle and buying all sorts of JDM stuff. And of course, Google is your friend. You know, if any website has ripped someone off, generally they're gonna write a review about it somewhere. So if these shops, once again, let's reiterate, if they have prices that are too good to be true, if they require that you buy multiples of the item in order to place an order, and if they only take a bank transfer, just click off that shop and forget about them. In fact, if you go back to that shop a couple of weeks later, it's more than likely the website will be gone, as they've been found out and they've shut the site down and are probably setting up a different one. But knock on wood, I've never been ripped off. So hopefully this helps you guys out. You know, share this video with anyone you know that's looking to buy stuff from Japan. They got a lot of cool stuff out there, a lot of stuff that you can't find here, even though a lot of the Japanese companies are selling JDM lures and whatnot here now. It doesn't even scratch the surface of what's available over there. So hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and share this with anyone and everyone. And thanks a lot, guys.